All right, everybody. Well, it is league night, and I figured I was looking through Facebook today, and I saw a comment that I thought would make an absolutely outstanding question and answer video. So the question was, if you bowled in a, it just says, I think it said tournament, but if you bowl in an event, and I'll post the question right here. If you bowl in an event and somebody with handicap shoots 1,000 for a 3-game series, which would be, a 330 every game, or even higher than that. I guess you could go to 1,100 if you wanted to, but whatever. If they shot over 900, how would you feel about that? And I have a few different things, ways to approach this. My first comment would be, I don't think that in any event, whether it's league or tournament, that any bowler, regardless of their handicap, should ever be able to bowl or have a score greater than 300. And the reason for that is because a scratch bowler's max score is a 300. To me, if a scratch bowler is only capable, if they bowl the best that they possibly can, of shooting a 300, then the maximum score possible for a handicap bowler bowling the best that they possibly can should also be 300. That's my first take. Whether it's a tournament, league play, it doesn't make a difference. That would be number one. Number two, let's say it's league play, tournament play, it doesn't really matter. But if it's a handicap tournament or a handicap league, you go into that league understanding what the handicap is. And you either like it or you don't. You understand it or you don't. But you go into it willingly knowing that the handicap is going to be at a certain level. Now, what should handicap be? What should our handicap levels be? I think that's the biggest problem that we have in bowling as a community right now, is that handicap is not standard across all leagues. You have some leagues that are based off of a 210 average, some that are 220, some that are even as high as 230. And then you have a percentage of that. So some more 75%, all the way up to 90% and 100% in some leagues. And every league has the ability to choose for themselves what level they want that to be. And I think that's one of the absolute failures of the USBC, in that they allow handicap to be based off of whatever you want it to be based off of. And I think that there needs to be a standardization there, that all leagues are based off of X and Y, 220, 225, 230, whatever, being the base for each, individual, and then it's either 80% or 85% or whatever of that base. And then on top of that, I also think that, just like in golf, golfers have handicaps based upon every round that they ever play, whether it's a practice round, I believe, whether it's a practice round or a regulation round where they're playing a tournament or whatever. They keep track of every round, every game that they play, and their handicap is tracked online. So you can go online at any time and you can see what their handicap would be based upon their given average at that point, at that time. And I think they take the last so many rounds, so many games or whatever. I think bowling should do the same thing. We have the technology right now in this country to where you could do a yearly handicap based upon the last 5 years of a bowler's life. And obviously, if somebody gets hurt and they can't bowl right-handed and they have to bowl left-handed, you would create a left-handed average. But or you're a right-handed bowler and you're injured and you need a waiver because you're unable to bowl at the level that you were bowling at previously. Obviously, you could throw some waivers in there, league to league, where you could make those changes. Let's say you give a guy a waiver for a year and he just doesn't qualify for rewards because he's bowling outside of the standard that's been set by the USBC. That protects the integrity of the game. If everybody had a USBC handicap that was given by the USBC, that was standard across all leagues and all tournaments, I think that would make our game. It would make bowling in the United States and maybe across the globe much more standardized, much more unified as an organization and as a community. Because right now, you have leagues that are You know, the league we bowl in is based off of 220, 90% of 220 as a team. So your team average is 1100. You get 90% of the difference from 1100, and handicaps tend to be fairly large, fairly high. Our team is a scratch team, so we don't get any handicap. But you know, there's nights we give 250, 260 pins, and we win those games. You know, and we should win those games because there's a reason why those handicaps are the way that they are. It doesn't mean that people are bad or better or whatever. It's just what handicap is there to do, is to even out the score. It's to make the match a fair match. It's not there to punish anybody or to make the better bowlers work harder, because they really, honestly, if you bowl your average and they bowl their average, you're going to win because it's 90%. It's not 100%. I can go into how that whole thing works, but long and the short of it is, I think handicap in this country has been, for a long time, people talk about it, they gripe about it, but ultimately the USBC could step in tomorrow and fix all of this. But they're too busy just taking money and putting it in their pockets and not doing anything for the betterment of the game. They're just enriching themselves and making horrible decisions that the rest of us have to put up with. So if I had my choice, I just wouldn't pay into the USBC and I would just keep my money. I've won my awards. I'm never getting another 300 ring. I'm never getting another 800 ring because the USBC has said that you only get one. And so at this point, why do I continue to pay into an organization that gives me nothing? You know, and it does nothing for the betterment of the game. So that's my take. Please comment on this and let me know what you think. We may disagree, and that's completely fine. But I'd like to know what you guys think. So, yeah, it's time to get to bowling. You guys have fun out there. We'll see you next time.